We do have, as you said, a real opportunity to, turn the tide here in this country and to listen respectfully to, our voices, the voices of our First Nations community.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to vote yes, clearly.
Yeah. We've kind of been fortunate as a band to be involved and invited into, regional communities, Indigenous communities in New South Wales through, offering what we can, which is, music production, advice, music workshops. And, for us, some of the first times we've visited, Aboriginal missions, pretty eye-opening for us for, inner city white fellas to see that, there are just young fellas that have, in and out of juvie, just real dire situations. Also, there's amazing things that are going on there. I mean, we've been working specifically with an organisation called Mad Proper Deadly. Shout outs to Nate there. And
I think it's a great example of sort of what something like The Voice can do. He is an Aboriginal person. Nate is a guy, who's grown up, in those areas in New South Wales, which they've grown up in, and he understands the experiences they've gone through. So a program like that is so different and so much more effective, right, than just something that's prescribed statewide by government officials who are really disconnected from that experience. If we want to talk about a really functional metaphor for what The Voice can do, it's a program like that.
Breaking cycles, these kids that are almost indoctrinated into the incarceration system at such a young age, and it becomes so normal for them. One of the kids up in Armidale working with, his father was already in jail and had been, most of his life, and he was up there getting sentenced. And it's kind of nothing to them. Still a couple of years here and there. Not even 14 yet. So it's about finding ways to break those cycles. And just the same old story for just decades now that we have to try and figure out new ways because what we're doing isn't working.
100%.
Yeah, just on that point of what it means, rather than division, I actually see this more as unity. It's actually a way of kind of strengthening our kind of national identity.
I think it's a great opportunity for all Australians to be prouder to be Australian. The way the government treats First Nations people, it is an embarrassment. And this is a great chance for us to take this step in the right direction.
The relationship that Indigenous people have with this country is ancient. White people, we've only been here for a couple of 100 years. The damage that we've done to Indigenous people and culture is huge. The vote for this weekend is hopefully just a very small on the way thing to reconciliation.
It's something when we go and play overseas, the New Zealand example gets used and you see white fellas who are, speaking a lot of Maori and they just sort of very much engrossed in what that means to them as people. They're sort of proud of this heritage. And I sort of feel that, long in this country, there hasn't kind of been that for a lot of non-Indigenous Australians.
And I think people you're talking about when you play overseas and stuff, I think a lot of people, most people I think overseas would be very surprised. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, First Nations mob don't have that voice, don't have that access. A lot of people here, you don't often look in your own backyard, do you? But I think that, we're not going to really look good in the eyes of the world.
And Hetti, I'd actually like to ask you, for those who are considering voting no this weekend, what would you say to those people?
I would say vote yes. I think that it's there's been a lot of respect saying, you've got a right to thing and it's okay to vote no and all that sort of stuff. Well, I don't agree. I don't think it's okay to vote no. I think people are morally, logically, intellectually, philosophically obliged to vote yes.
Voting yes is you're just taking the right step, taking a step in the right direction, having actual voices from Indigenous people rather than just, like you said, white fellas kind of making laws for them rather than with them.
People that aren't sure yet, follow the lead of Aboriginal people, because for us this is the path to a treaty. The Voice is not separate to the treaty. The Voice doesn't negate a treaty. The Voice is a step towards that.
Ultimately, it's like the Patuta advocate said, getting a bunch of black fellas in Parliament to have a yarn about it, I reckon is, what's the worst thing that could happen? You don't have to listen to us.
Look, in case it wasn't already clear, sticky fingers, we wholeheartedly support the yes vote. We think it's just the clear right thing to do. Try and right some of the wrongs done to our Indigenous brothers and sisters.
Also not forget to vote as well.
Yes.
They're not on the bend or anything. They're actually coming in hot Saturday.
It's funny you mentioned that. I did that on the bend once, was I went to go vote. And I got to the front of the line and realised I was in line for the sausage sizzle. And let's hop from that line to the actual line with the sausage sizzle.
Worked out all right.
Yes, that's right. I mean, everyone will be lining up for the sausage sizzle for sure. But you have to definitely write yes as well. As we know, there's been all this stuff about is a cross or a tick. It has to be yes in English.
Okay.
So
perfect.
go write yes and get a sausage.
Vote yes with Make a Best or something like that.
Love yous
Love
all.
yous all.
Rock and roll.
Cool.
Ciao for now.